यथा पुरस्ताद्भविता प्रतीत औदालकीरारुणिर्मत्प्रसृष्टः सुखं रात्रिशयिता वीतमन्युः त्वां दृशिवान् मृत्युमुखात् प्रमुक्तम् स्वर्गे लोके न भयं किञ्चनास्ति न तत्र त्वं न जरया बिभेति उभे तीर्त्वा अशनाया पिपासे शोकातिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके सत्त्वमग्निं स्वर्ग्यमध्येषि मृत्यो प्रब्रोहितं श्रद्दधानाय मह्यम् स्वर्गलोका अमृतत्वं भजन्ते एतद्वितीयेन वृणे वरेण प्रते ब्रवीमि तदुमे निबोध स्वर्ग्यमग्निं नचिकेतः प्रजानन् अनन्तलोकाप्तिमथो प्रतिष्ठां विद्धि त्वमेतन्निहितं गुहायाम् लोकादिमग्निं तमुवाच तस्मै या इष्टकायावतीर्वा यथा वा स चापि तत्प्रत्यवदद्यथोक्तम् अथास्य मृत्युः पुनराहतुष्टः तमब्रवीत् प्रीयमाणो महात्मा वरं तवेहाद्य ददानि भूयः तवैव नाम्ना भवितायमग्निः शृङ्काञ्चे मामनेकरूपां गृहाण त्रिणाचिकेतस्त्रिभिरेत्यसन्धिं त्रिकर्मकृत्तरति जन्म मृत्यु ब्रह्मजज्ञं देवमीड्यं विदित्वा द्विचाय्ये मां शान्तिमत्यन्तमेति त्रिणाचिकेतस्त्रयमेतद्विदित्वा य एवं विद्वांश्चिनुते नाचिकेतं स मृत्युपाशान् पुरतः प्रणोद्य शोकातिगो मोदते स्वर्गलोके एष तेऽग्निर्नचिकेतः स्वर्ग्यो यमवृणीथा द्वितीयेन वरेण एतमग्निं तवेव प्रवक्षन्ति जनासः तृतीयं वरं नचिकेतो वृणीष्व।
हरि ओम्। The 14th mantra, where the Lord is granting the second boon of Nachiketa. He said, I know well the fire ritual, O Nachiketa, and the two epithets he uses to praise Agni, which is the fire ritual. The first, he says, Swargyam, it leads to heaven, a state of peace and bliss, a state where there are no mental agitations, a life full of joy and happiness, irrespective of what the world puts you through, irrespective of it. It doesn't matter what you're being subjected to, but you remain in a space, you remain in a realm of no agitation, no sorrow. You remain unaffected. You experience that bliss coming from within. That is Swarga, Swargaloke, So when one performs or lives a life, one becomes a symbol of service. One becomes a symbol of giving or sacrifice. One attains that state of heaven. Secondly, he also said that this yajna is the very spirit. It is that which supports the entire universe. Supporter of the universe at the macrocosmic level is Virat. When you look around, as we briefly mentioned, every aspect of life, if life thrives, if life sustains, it has to be because it is upholding, it is abiding the principle of yajna, the principle of sacrifice. Where there is lack of that spirit of sacrifice, wherever there is that lack of yajna or that spirit of non-yajna, it suffers. Everything around us is, they know not anything other than but giving. Everything in nature doesn't hold back. Even when the cattle, when we draw milk from the cattle, we tie the calf a few feet away and we draw the milk. And the little innocent cow doesn't realize that you are abusing and eking the milk, but the little calf is being deprived of the mother's milk. The mother doesn't withhold and say, it's not meant for you, it's for my calf. It doesn't hold back. The flower releases its fragrance. The clouds give rain. The earth yields vegetation. In fact, this spirit of yajna is the sap of your spiritual life, is the very sap. And if you don't live with that spirit of yajna in everything that you do, if you want to spiritually grow, you must embrace the spirit of yajna. So much so you become a symbol of yajna. So much so you should become synonymous to yajna. Must relate to that idea. We took two references, and it's worth mentioning. First is in the fourth chapter of the Gita. There's a very profound section. Now, you must understand, even though the Shastras, from the very Vedic times, there was mention of this fire ritual. Even today, it is being looked at as a mere worship of invoking fire. It has no doubt a very deep significance. Though the ritual has a beautiful association, when you perform the ritual, it has a certain vibe. It's a community worship, but it has a deeper philosophical significance. In the fourth chapter, from verses 25 to 30, as I've said, you've learned before, I took a reference, the previous satsang, he talks of 12 yajnas. Nowhere else in the Shastras it is been analyzed so beautifully. He talks of not one, but 12. 12 yajnas. Now, what he does is he dissects the action into three types. He simply dissects it. And having dissected the action into three types, he says how you can convert every aspect of your action into worship. In fact, what is yajna? Yajna is a means to convert action into worship. In fact, it is a means to divinize your action. That is the purpose of yajna. Now, in the fourth chapter, as I've said, chapter 4, verses 25 to 30, he talks of 12 yajnas. So what is he doing there? He is dissecting action into three types, three parts, as it were. First, sorry. So first is receipt. Second is your reaction. Third are your responses. So he dissects action into three types, three facets. So what is the point here is, how do you convert the very receipt of stimuli? So the world, as you understand, enters into you. How does the world enter into you? As right now, you are able to hear me and see me. So the world enters into you through the organs of perception. So when you receive the world, how do you convert that very stimuli into worship? So it's a very profound idea. I can't get into the detail, but I'm just trying to tell you how you could. Now, an introverted person converts stimuli, that is perceptions, into worship. I'll explain. Whereas an extroverted person converts his actions into worship. Actions here means responses. Now, what do you mean by an introverted person converts his stimuli or his perceptions into worship? What do you mean by that? Now, a simple example in the Kathopanishad, we learn Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha kena prana prathama praitiyuktaha. When the question was asked to the Guru, what is it that the self? And he says, Chakshushash chakshuhu. It is that which enables your eye to see. It is not what I see. So while I am seeing a perception, while I perceive the world, either I can get lost in the very perception, or I think, what is it that's enabling me to see? Like when I'm seeing you all, either I get lost in the perception of you all, or as I'm seeing, something makes me process this very stimuli and say, what is it that's enabling me to see? It's not what I see. If there was no stimuli, that opportunity of converting that action into worship doesn't arise. It's not what I hear, that which enables me to hear whatever I hear. It could be my guru preaching or my wife shouting. Doesn't matter. How does it matter who and what he said? My guru may be talking the highest truths, or my wife can be talking utter rubbish to me. Doesn't matter what I hear. That which enables my ear to hear is God, not what I hear. So if you are of that caliber, you will convert the very stimuli into worship. Now, since all don't belong to that caliber, what do the extroverted people do? The extroverted people will convert action into worship. How do you convert action into worship? Now, while I'm acting, while I'm responding to the stimuli, while the world draws me out into action, while I'm performing so many actions, how do I convert that into worship? By simply asking myself, for what am I doing all this? What is the purpose of this objective? Why am I acting? Is there a higher element? Is there an unselfish cause? Why am I learning this knowledge? Oh, is it only for yourself? Why am I teaching this knowledge? Is it only for gratifying my own ego? For what am I doing it? If there is a higher cause, then you're converting that action into worship. So that's how he dissects action into 12 facets. Under receipt, reaction, response, where you can convert every facet of your action into worship. So in your initial stages of your spiritual journey, you will be converting your actions into worship. In your higher spiritual phases of life, you will be converting very perception into worship. Means you become an introverted person. Like I was just telling Gayatri yesterday, life is so demanding. Can't believe the time is so demanding, the amount of things that you need to do, which needs you to be at different places, attend to different things, balance life. So it's very demanding, a lot of running. Believe me, I sometimes I hardly have time to just breathe. It's very demanding. So many things you have to look into, which is I'm not complaining at all. But I was telling her, I truly wish that I get a time, there comes a time where I don't have to look into any of these things. And I don't have to run. All for the cause, all to take the foundation forward, all to meet its objectives. That's no doubt about it. But I just want to have more of the time, which every morning, that 4 to 6 time, nobody takes from me. Whatever come me, wherever am I, whichever part of the world, that time is my time. including this morning, that 4 to 6 time, nobody disturbed me. So I was doing my writing. I was doing my sadhana. Everything is sadhana. But I said, I wish I had that time with me that I can do a lot of writing. I can just be with the books and study and then do nothing else but this. So all the administrative issues, if anything needs to be come to you for approval, anything needs for your inputs, fair enough, but not to do the. You may say, oh, why are you doing? If I don't do, and if I don't need to tell you what I do, things will not move forward. And I don't have to tell you what is done. Why don't I have to reveal to you what is being done? But it has to be done. Again, I'm not complaining. So there is a very strong drive. I know I want to be at the realm of, I want to be far. There's a calling to be introverted. Not now. There's a very strong pull, and it will happen. As a matter of time, things will hopefully stabilize, and I don't have to look into things, operational issues, sustenance issues, maintenance issues, stabilize, and then I don't have to worry about it. If any one of you are worrying, I'll not, to that extent, I'll not worry. But since you're not worrying about it, I have to worry. And I'm even that is not complaining. Oh, I come, I sit, I eat, I listen, I go. Is anybody worried? How is it running? Who is maintaining? Who is providing? How is it going on? Is the place clean? How is it clean? Who maintains it? The garden is being there. Who maintains the garden? You may say, who told you to put up a garden? Who told you to plant a tree? Did I tell you to plant a tree? Your logic and wisdom is very profound. Did I tell you to put up a place? You wanted a place. Now it's your headache. You take care of it. Don't tell me anything. Non-yajna. Nobody has to tell you to do it, my dear. You come and you take it. You receive it and you're not mindful of it. I am not asking your favor. I'm not asking you anything. I will be in a spirit of non-yajna if I do that. I'm myself violating the principle if I ask you something. I do it. So when you become more introverted, you will perform actions of a different degree. You will be more inclined towards perception, not action. There will be that paradigm shift in your sadhana. And I've been noticing that last 7, 8, 10 years, maybe. But I'm compelled to do it. I'm doing out of compulsion. Like you're building a foundation. It's like a foundation of a building. You need to do a lot of everything. Fair enough. You have to play by the rules. But when you traverse this journey, you will be able to relate to this phase, how you convert action into worship in the initial stages, then you convert your stimuli into worship. Go back to the 4th chapter. If there is a way we can, if it's all archived and kept, perhaps you should, Gatrima, if you could give them the links where they can tap those old archived portion of that chapter, which can give them greater clarity. Do post it wherever is required. Yes, US.
Guruji, you said extrovert converts action into worship, but
Sorry, we lost you for a second. Can you come again?
No, you said extroverts convert action into worship. How can an extrovert do that? I thought extroverts are very selfish and The introverts are the ones who act unselfishly, isn't it?
No, when I say introverts and extroverts, I said the initial phase of your sadhana is you become an extroverted sadhak, where you're more action oriented in that sense. Extroverted, not literally in the sense of a materialistic person or a sensual person. You become an extroverted karma yogi, and later on you become an introverted karma yogi. Say extrovert karma yogi is running around organizing lectures and doing things. Introvert karma yogi is you're sitting at a place writing books. Same thing you're doing, but you're more inclined. Action is different caliber. Extra means you're more physical oriented. You are more outward. Here you're more inward. So it's only a choice of words, but when we say extroverted means you're more outward. You see, if I were to tell you, I know you understand the concept, how extroverted or introverted you are. If I were to tell you, you don't have to leave your home, you have to be in the most comfortable space you are in, but do everything from home without driving, without going out, without seeing anything out of world. Don't contact the world, but just be at your desk, be at your home comfort, do all the work 7 days a week, 30 days a month, 20, 12 months a year. What would happen? Huh? Means I should not go to my work. I should not see my employees. I don't have to meet my colleagues. I don't do anything outside. What happens? There is a sense of uneasiness, right? So, to what extent do you feel that you need to contact the world, you need to go out, even for the larger good, even for, say, considering it's for the higher, it's a yajna action. I'm not talking of non-yajna. That to that extent, one is extroverted. Now, what makes one extroverted? I suppose you know that, don't you? What makes a person introverted? Or rather, let me put it this way, extroversion, introversion is measured on what count?
The state of your wisdom. How much dependent are you of the world?
Not really. How can you measure how can you say extrovert or introverted based on that? I don't think you can say that. Well, how do you measure how does the concept of extroversion, introversion is measured by? What is it measured by? All right. But have I answered your question? Yeah. Think along now. Amitama?
Sir, I was just answering that question about how you measure between extrovert and introvert. I said the level or amount of contact with external sense objects.
Now, in fact, you're only explaining that. When an extrovert person is seen amid sense objects, an introverted person refrains from sense contact. Excessive sense contact. He doesn't need to. There may be television there, he doesn't switch on the television. There may be the world to connect with, he chooses not to be in contact. I can just keep messaging all my old social contacts and say, hey, how are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Let him live in his space. If he wants, he'll come in touch with you. Why nowadays I have to be in all the possible social media so that the entire world knows what I'm doing? Huh? What nonsense. I'm not saying nonsense, don't get me wrong. Oh, you are a very old, outdated Guruji, you will say. And I'm not saying that. An extrovert person will do that. I was given a very strong advice by somebody, a well-wisher. We celebrated, as you are a part of that, we celebrated our parents' 50th anniversary. And it was a pleasant get-together. And I was told, please post in the media what you did for your parents. Thank God I didn't heed that advice. Huh? SR, imagining me doing that. So not a picture was even sent to, did I send a picture to you of you being there? Did I send a picture to any one of you being there? Whoever was there? No.
Okay.
Why? Not that I didn't want to send you, please. Thought did occur. But then I said, okay, it will find its way to reach you. I'm sure it reached you. Did it?
Yes, I did.
Thank God. Otherwise I'll
Yeah.
attend to it and get it done. Now, what I'm trying to say is, why do you have to go out and do things which is not required? When you say, why did you do it? I had an obligation as a son to celebrate, to give it back to my parents in whatever little way I could. Not that I've settled scores. I just wanted to, is my expression of my love towards them. Then why don't you talk about to the world? What is a necessity? See, there is a very, that is different. You're all the time in contact with the senses, or you refrain from the sense contact. But that is not the question. The question is, how do you measure extrovertedness and introvert? What is the tool, measuring tool for measuring extrovertedness and introvertedness? Okay. Think
Yes,
along,
sir.
please. SR, what is the measuring tool?
Which is in my view, the measuring tool, like how sattvic you are, how I'm just contemplating, is it going to be makes any difference there? How rajasic you are makes a difference between how, like an extrovert is a more of a rajasic, an introvert is a more of a sattvic or tamasic. Can I bring the gunas of a person into the actions what they do?
Not really, sir.
Okay.
It doesn't help to analyze. Doesn't help to analyze.
Hmm.
Not the gunas.
Also, Guruji, I would like to have one clarification. Like we talk about this extrovert and introvert. Extrovert with the people who show off and who communicate, or I mean to say they are visible to their actions.
Uh-huh.
The introvert
Uh-huh.
person are the people. This is what the perception. Most of the people are me get carried away. Introvert is the one who does the actions in a very silence, absolutely not knowing to
Indeed.
the world, not knowing to the world,
He
and
doesn't seek publicity. He
yes,
doesn't do for the sake of it. Absolutely.
yeah.
Sir, some of you have been associated for the last few years. The foundation in India, which we have started for the past 6-7 years, activities have been going on in whatever pace, and they have been naturally growing organically, which is how it should be. There have been various activities that I do. The first time in the last 7 years, as you all, some of you are being part of it, are invited to be a part of it. There is a whole day photo shoot happening so that the world knows what I'm doing. To know that what you have been doing, first time in my life in this photo shoot. So you'll not believe. They want me to cover in all possible activities that I do. Doing yoga, I go cycling, I play badminton, I go mountaineering, I'll be lecturing, I'll be doing this, so doing that. And they told me, bring all your gear. So I had to pack 2 suitcases of clothes yesterday. Don't believe. I had to pack 2 suitcases of all the gear. I had to climb to the attic and take out my mountaineering gear so that I have to be dressed to be showcased, so that, oh, this is a guru who does this. And they want to capture it to showcase. Have I done to showcase it? No, I have been doing because it's something which I wanted to do. There is no need to advertise. But now a time has come, perhaps they say, let it be known. So to that extent, I'm not trying to even advertise when I'm saying this. To that extent, you don't want to. But still they say, if you don't advertise, how will people know about it? How will people know that it's meant for people from all walks of life? And it's meant to people, help them in their lives, whatever they are doing. So they organized a professional, a corporate man to interview me tomorrow. So they say, don't worry, we will take care of it. It will happen. So all I have to do is be there. And only they're saying is, please try to increase the centimeters of your smile. The more you smile, the better it is for the picture, RPG. That's what they're telling me. So I have to practice. My cheeks have been hurting past few days. I've been practicing smiling. So if I don't smile for the rest of the class, please understand that my cheeks have been hurting, Arunama. They're really hurting. They're telling me, whatever, even it's artificial smile, please smile, they're saying. So it doesn't matter. You just have to do your part. You have to do your part. But an introverted, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Sorry, Guruji.
Yeah.
It doesn't amount to be, we are slowly getting into the drama of worldly efforts.
Not at all. You don't lose your focus. Like the great Ramana Maharshi, he did not change his persona for the world. He did what he did, and the world captured him, and the world was drawn to him. Any guru or any man. So I am not doing anything different for the camera. That's what I'm trying to tell. I am doing exactly what I've been doing. They're only trying to capture me. So am I doing anything different for the camera? Then I'm living for the world. I am not living for the world. If I have to be captured in my sports gear and be seen here as a man who plays sports, so be it. This is what I do day in and day out. So I'm not living for the world. I'm living for myself. And this is what I am. And this is my sadhana. This is my journey. If you feel I'm worthy of being captured. Otherwise, I'm good in my space. And that is not arrogance. And that is not an air of ego. It is just being what I am. And it's being done so that the whole objective is that the wisdom should reach. And if it can reach in the manner, if it's being done, and if that is being in line, why not? But I will not do anything unnatural which is not me. So much so, there was a time when I lived in Malaysia. I used to wear a suit, a three-piece suit, to attend a corporate workshop because it's a Muslim country and you have to respect the laws of that land. And there was a very expensive suit. I remember showing you that brand.
Yes.
In Malaysia. An expensive suit was arranged for me so that I can wear for that event. I remember I only wore it twice, and it's still hanging. I hope it's still hanging without cockroaches and cobwebs there. And I said, I will not wear a suit. I told them, I will not wear a suit because I'm not wearing that anymore. So you expect corporate workshop, I'll be in this attire. I will not do anything just for the sake of doing. My terms are very clear. You want to capture me, capture me. This is my ground. You don't come and dictate your grounds to me on my ground. So I'm not dislodging myself for the world. They are trying to showcase what is there to the world. That's all is happening. To that extent, you are not losing your focus. I am not lost my focus. So far, so good, sir. Tomorrow, what would happen? No guarantee.
Absolutely, Guruji.
Coming back to the question, how do you measure your extrovertedness or introvertedness? It's a very technical answer. And the yajna spirit of an extroverted person makes her introverted. Not at all. You're just mentioning a matter of fact. You don't measure it that way. It's not measuring tool. Very technical. Arpitji, any idea? What is that requires to measure your level of introvertedness or extrovertedness?
So this is my background, I think a little bit, but in the past we've always measured it by the amount of, where do you get your energy from? How do you thrive? So if the majority of your energy comes from contact with the world, then you are said to be extroverted. If you are getting your energy, that which motivates and drives you from internally across the spectrum, then you are said to be introverted. So that's I guess what I've been taught or been exposed to as and it's not a philosophical definition, of course.
No, even from a layman's perspective, when you answer, you're right, but that doesn't answer the question. You're only explaining the terms to me.
Yeah.
You're elucidating what extrovertedness means or what introvertedness means. But I'm asking what measures one's level of extrovertedness? What
Right.
makes
So,
you an extroverted or what makes you an introverted?
so if you asked a 100 questions delineating between how do you feel, how do you react, between something that's given to you from an external stimuli versus an internal stimuli, then
You're
that
still
would be
again
the
now you're again still describing to me what those terms suggest or implicate, but not I'm going, so you're going again from you're going forward, I'm going to the root, I'm going backward, I'm going inward to examine what it is. So it's actually measured by an inner quotient. You're all trying to measure by the external supply of stimuli. So it's not the external stimuli that measures your introvertedness or extrovertedness. It's something measured by your inner quotient. So what is the inner quotient which measures your extroverted or introverted? I'm giving you all a cue here. Okay. There is something internal, not external. Setuji.
Hari Om Guruji. I thought
Yes,
that
sir.
karma action is the quotient. It is not
Again, it is not internal again. Again, it's not internal. Lakshmi Ma.
Guruji,
Yes, Ma.
can you hear me? Is it our vasanas, Guruji?
It is your vasana, Sarunama, you're right. It is your desires. Right thinking. So your quotient, the quantity and quality of your vasanas and desires determine whether you become an extroverted or introverted. And I'll explain how it is. It's not difficult. It's not rocket science to understand. I was wondering why you people were struggling with that. So it is the quantity and quality of your desires that make you an introverted or an extroverted person. Now, if you understand this, there is the stimuli. The stimuli reaches your sense organs. Then it reacts with your mind and intellect. Then there are responses. This is the order, right? The stimuli, the sense organs carry the stimuli to the mind and intellect, and based on the reaction, the responses. Imagine now the entire extrovertedness or introvertedness depends on your level of what is the state of your mind and intellect. If you have more desires, so when the sense organs carry the stimuli, and when the mind and intellect more desires, there is a greater reaction, and there are more responses, which makes you an active person. But when the desires are less, when you have less desires, there's less reaction, there is less response, which makes you less active and more contemplative. This is how you come to deduct, this is how you come to understand the concept of extrovertedness and introvertedness. Now, the world is constantly sending stimuli to you. If the stimuli reacts with the desire, I've always been interested in doing that. I'm happy that this exhibition is coming. I want to attend the exhibition. Why are you interested in the exhibition? Because you have a desire for it. The moment the exhibition takes place, you react favorably and you go and attend. Okay. If you have, what happens if you have no desire for that exhibition? The exhibition will come to the city, the exhibition will leave the city, but you'll not find yourself in the exhibition. Why? You have no desire. So what happens? To that extent, you're not reacting to the stimuli. You're not active. You're not outside in the world. You are away from the world. Okay. Second, there is a stimuli of a concert happening. There is a singer in town with his band is coming for a concert. If you have the desire to attend the concert, what will happen? The moment you come to hear in the radio, quickly you go and search, hey, where is the concert happening? When is home? What are the, whatever you need to find out, you'll book a place for yourself and you'll be jumping in the aisle in the concert because you have a desire for it. If you have no desire for the concert, where will you be? At home, not in the concert. As simple as that. You have no desire for it. So to the extent the desire is reduced, to that extent you will not be reacting to the invitations of the world. But the world continues to send invitations because you have a desire. Arunama, following?
Yes, Guruji. Very well. Yes,
This is what you meant, isn't it? I've interpreted whatever you said correctly.
You interpreted it much more and more clearly.
No. So you're perfect in your understanding, right?
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, ma'am. In the 59th verse of chapter 2, he states something fabulous. I'm just trying to repeat what I said. If you have no desires, you remain introverted. The world is full of stimuli, right? Why does the stimuli come to you? The stimuli comes to you because you have a demand. But the moment you don't entertain a demand, what happens? The sense objects will not come to you. They will not come and disturb you. That's what he says in the 59th verse of the 2nd chapter. where he portrays a picture of a man of enlightenment. He says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drashtva nivartate. He says the sense objects turn away from a man of abstinence. So I become introverted. I have no desires for the world. What will happen? The world will not come to me. The world will not disturb you. The world will not entice you. Don't worry, you will be left alone in your own space. So you're protected. Don't have to worry. SR, don't have to worry that you are falling a prey to the world. As long as you're introverted, don't worry. The world will not disturb you. So you'll not get invitations to attend parties. You'll not get an invitation to be in the world. You'll not get an invitation. Why? Because you have no desire for it. Why will you get invitation? Protected. There's a perfect electrocuted fencing around you. Nobody will intrude and disturb your sadhana. Well protected, well guarded. So all what you need to do is ensure that you have no desire for it. The moment there's desire, you will run out into the world and gather the information. But if you have no desire, even when the world comes to you by chance, you will not show interest to it. Next time, it will not come to you at all. Well protected, well guarded. Fascinating, as I said, how he conceives all this, how every aspect of action can be converted into worship. The 12 yajnas is an outstanding facet. You may call it a desire, but I look at an opportunity to refine my own understanding. Hopefully, there will be a time where I could attempt to write or bring about a booklet on yajna, just on yajna. Perhaps a comprehensive booklet which gives all the necessary of references and bring out that true spirit of yajna, what that word yajna means. Someday, time permitting, time we have to create, but certainly it would happen. The sankalpa is there. The moment the thought is there, it will fructify. So a booklet on yajna, where all these beautiful concepts can be brought to the forefront. Now, there's another reference that we took in the last satsang, the 3rd chapter, verses 14 and 15. Can we have that verses, please? So, chapter 3, verse 14 and 15. So let's all chant together so you can relate to the mantra, the verses rather. Annad bhavanti bhutani pajanyadanna sambhavaha yajñād bhavati parjanyaha yajñah karma samudbhavaha. 15. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajñe pratishthitam. Now, the translation in the 14 and 15 are chanted together because there is a connection in thought flow. And these two verses give the very famous agricultural metaphor. Only place in the Shastras this metaphor is used, and it's in the 3rd chapter, 14 and 15. So here he says, Annad bhavanti bhutani. From food comes beings. From rain, food is produced. From yajna, which is sacrifice, arises rain. And yajna is born of action. Vidhi. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. So the word vidhi means know. So he says, know that action arises from Brahma, and Brahma arises from the imperishable Brahman. So therefore, what is the conclusion? Tasmat Sarvagatam Brahma Nityam Yajne Pratishtitam. Therefore, the all-pervading Brahman ever rests in Yajna. Outstanding. What a profound. Just leave it on for a second. Somebody may want to capture it. Both the verses, please. First. Yes. I hope you all have captured it. Right. Thank you, Ma. Now, what he is stating here, I don't know what is this mean. What is happening, Ma? Looks like you are all able to write, is it? How does it happen? I don't know.
You just try yourself now, Guruji. Just sharing it.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not able to. It's okay. Something has evolved and we are not evolved to it. That's all I can say. Now, what I wanted to capture is if you were to draw a connection, what those two verses are saying is from Brahman. Okay, let me type it out, then I'll explain. Okay. So from Brahman comes Brahma. From Brahma comes all terrestrial actions. From terrestrial actions arises, one of the terrestrial actions is yajna. When you perform yajna, there is rain. Where there is rain, there is food. And where there is food, there is living beings. This is what the verse is saying. So from Brahman comes Brahma. From the unmanifest Brahman comes the manifested world. The world you and I are living in. And from Brahma, the creator, what has he done? He has produced all of us, where we all are producing constant, innumerable actions, karma we are doing. Various terrestrial actions we are performing. From morning to night, we are doing so many actions, right? Of that terrestrial actions, there is an action called yajna. And when one does yajna, what arises from yajna? He says rain. Sinaji, I don't know whether you have heard this about the concept of performance of yajna and rain. It's a very strong belief in the country, even today. It has been a very long prevalent belief that when you perform this actual fire worship, and it's sometimes done in the drought season where you don't get enough rains for the crops, they perform this fire worship, community worship. The whole villages come together and do it. And invariably, soon thereafter, in a day or so, there is rain. Have you ever heard of this?
Guruji, in many cultures around the world, this is practiced. The Red Indian community have got a very famous rain dance that they do. It's equivalent to the fire yajna you speak about. However, in many places, in many places, but much change.
So we are actually unable to hear you fluently. There is a voice break.
Can you hear that now?
No, it's the same.
One, two,
Sure.
can you hear that?
No.
Okay.
But I
Now, can you hear me better
yes.
now?
Yes.
Yeah. So, so the concept of yajna for rain is practiced around many cultures in the world. Very famous Red Indian in North America rain dance, as well as in Africa and many other cultures. But with climate change today, the reward of the yajna is getting less and less. But the fact remains that there is a connection between sending a frequency or a vibration out to the world out there in order to invite rain for centuries had been working. Thank you.
I really don't know you're drawing to Red Indians, rain dance and all. I'm not there. I'm not knowledgeable enough to comment on that, but there's nothing more elaborate. There's nothing more exhaustive, which you perhaps, in fact, in the 15th mantra, when we come back next week, in the 15th mantra, he gives a little insight into what elaboration does one go into when one performs a yajna. The kind of bricks, the size of the bricks, where the mud is sourced from, what kind of Vedic mantras are chanted. So it's an exhaustive, very elaborate exercise of performing this Vedic ritual of yajna. So it's a very profound, and as you know, nothing is far grandeur than the very Vedic teachings itself and the Vedic activities. So there is some connect. Now, what we need to draw is, okay, you may say from Brahman, there is Brahma and so on, and then the living beings. Now, in all that, in that chart, the pivot is, SR, in that chart, if you were to put from the top to bottom, what is that pivot of that whole chart? What is the center point of the chart?
I mean to say, Guruji, from when we drawing the lines from the Brahman to Brahma and terrestrial actions in that language.
Yeah, right from Brahma to living beings.
Yeah, terrestrial actions are the pivoting point.
Right. What are the things you wrote down? Can you tell me?
I think from unmanifest Brahman, the Brahma who creator emerges. From the Brahma, terrestrial actions. From the yajna, yajna is a pivotal point.
So you have Brahman, Brahma actions, and then you have rain, food, living beings.
Rain, food, and living.
What holds the
yajna is the holding point.
Which is the whole point we are trying to say. If that is not the pivot, then what's the point talking of it? So the whole thing revolves. So how does Brahman connect to living beings? How does SR invoke Brahman in him? How do you invoke Brahman in you?
Through yajna.
Through yajna. Nityam yajna pratishtitam. Brahman resides in yajna. So you want to connect with Brahman Yajna is the means. That's the highway to Brahman.
Amazing, Guruji.
Outstanding. It's
Learning.
fascinating.
Learning.
Fascinating. It's an outstanding part of philosophy. So what one should do? One should strive to perform in a spirit of yajna, which is sacrifice. Keep living, keep thinking in terms of what can I do to others? How can I serve the others? How can I transform others? In that, I grow spiritually. In that very spirit, I evolve. In that, I reach the highest, which is Brahman. The moment non-yajna spirit of I and my comes in, finished. Everything will get destroyed. Everything. This is what the message is.
Thanks, Guruji.
Right, sir. So the deeper implication, Amitama, the deeper implication is Brahman, understandable, is unmanifest. Brahma is the manifest. All actions we understand. Now, when you perform actions in a spirit of yajna, which is unselfishness, he says comes rain. What is the rain? So when each employee in the organization works with a spirit of yajna, what is the rain? Rain here has to be interpreted as the mental climate. When every member of the organization works with a spirit of yajna, it creates a mental climate. And what is a mental climate?
One of using more intellect, less prone to depend on mind and desire, clarity of consciousness.
No.
No?
Why are you
Sorry, sir.
bringing in all those factors? In fact, the whole 1.5 hours I spoke, I didn't use the word intellect so far. Not even once I used the word buddhi. Now the question is, when you work with the spirit of yajna, what climate does it create in your office? If you're all in the organization are thinking in the spirit of yajna, what mental climate does it create? What atmosphere it creates in everybody?
Seva, giving.
Okay, what does
giving?
it create? What does it create?
Collaboration, charity.
When
Oneness.
all of, yes, when there is that common cause of everybody's working for, there is that team spirit, as you call it. There is that cooperative endeavor. There is no infighting. There is no backbiting. There is no backstabbing. There is no ego clashes. There is no hidden agenda. There is no hidden motives. They're all working for that one cause.
Yep.
And that mental climate of lack of conflict. What happens? Where there is rain, there is bound to be food. Food symbolizes prosperity. There is production. There is success. There is abundance of prosperity for the organization, for its members. Everybody is prosperous because everybody is thinking in the interest of organization. So when I keep pouring the grains and the fuel into the fire, what happens? The flame shoots. The organization flourishes. The organization grows. What happens? Everybody are blessed by the growth of the organization. Food represents there is prosperity for everybody. And when there is food, there is life, living beings. You and I survive. There is life thrives if everybody works in that spirit of yajna. It can happen at an institutional level. It can happen at a national level. It can happen at a global level. But you must have a leader. You must have a leader who can envision that ideal. You must have the leader who can bring everybody aligned to that ideal. And one who follows that in a matter of time, they see the results where everybody is uplifted with that spirit of oneness.
So Harvard is doing a research on human flourishing. This could be the formula. Somebody should contribute, this framework for that.
It's like again saying putting your anniversary celebrations in the public media. Let them do. You want those bunch of people to get easy way out. Let them do some tapas and sadhana. They'll get it. Huh?
Yeah.
They want to do research. Let them do research. They'll figure it out one day. But this, if they have the knowing that I know I can find I'm superior, let them get it. Let them. Nothing comes easy. You must be humble enough to bow down to this wisdom or knowledge and come and learn from it. And this wisdom has got the solution for every possible thing that they're still trying to figure out. It is being time tested truth laid down here. What are you talking? And you call Harvard a superior or this is superior? They're kindergarten stuff. Those fellows are still researching. And you're talking Harvard as the researching, they're kindergarten. I'm talking third time I'm saying they're kindergarten people. What research they'll do? And they're trying to showcase their papers in all technical terms you will use as papers are published in that magazine, this magazine. It's like I am the most brilliant amongst my kindergarten students. Yeah, you can make some noise in the kindergarten. These people will wait for them to come and learn. No, these people will not go to them. What Harvard, what Oxford, what Cambridge. Oh, my child, my grandson should get into Cambridge and Oxford. So please go. Your life, you're celebrating your grandchild, your child got into Harvard, Cambridge. I'm not having any animosity towards them. I'm only trying to tell it's there. It's been there from time immemorial. You and I had no eyes to see or appreciate the grandeur. Let the world know what is there. And it's just not a ritual, as I've said. The actual ritual or the actual reference has so deep. So if, let's take example, there's often taken example of Japan. When Japan after World War II completely was devastated, they had to build back a nation. So everybody in that country functioned with the spirit of yajna. They pooled their resources. They came together with a common spirit of building a nation. They built a very powerful Japan, what it is today. How did they transform Japan from a broken nation to a world power? The spirit of yajna. So as I said, it can be done at a national level. It can be done at an international level. Rather than we constantly fighting with each other, if we all can bring our resources to make the world a better place to live in. As simple as that. Let's make a world peaceful where you live peacefully, I live peacefully. And if I'm able to align to that simple thought, I tell you, there is no destruction, there is no me alone. We all are in it. So the spirit of yajna, the question is to what level can you apply it? To the extent you apply it, to that extent the principle will bring about profound results. I found a very pertinent need to get away from the Kathopanishad and get into these two references of the fourth chapter and the third chapter of the Gita, because it gives us the great insight into the concept of yajna. Because the Upanishad doesn't talk of it. There's only a mention of it. But here we have to clarify and is justified why the Upanishad glorifies the fire ritual. And this is the reason. It's glorified because it is the supporter of the universe. That's the reason we went to these two references. Yajna is that which supports the entire universe. So it is your very sap. It is your spine. The spiritual spine is yajna. The spiritual sap is yajna. I rest my case. We'll continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.